Standard 14 says a particle is moving in the xy plane with position determined by the parametric equation xy equals t squared t cubed minus 12t for all real numbers t. So part A asks, where does the particle cross the x-axis? So to find the place where the particle crosses the x-axis, any place where the particle crosses that axis has to be an x-intercept, because for the particle to cross from a negative y value to a positive y value or vice versa, it has to go through 0. So first I found the x-intercepts by setting the equation for y in terms of t cubed minus 12t equal to 0, and found that the t values of the x-intercepts of the particle's path are 0 and positive and negative root 12. And so, but those are just x-intercepts. In order to find out if they're a place where the particle crosses the x-axis, we have to see if the signs of y of t on either side of that x-intercepts are opposites, and then that the particle crosses the x-axis at that point. So I made a sign chart for y of t and got that the y values are negative on the left side of negative root 12 for t, and positive for t is in between that and 0. And then this is the rest of the sign chart. So based on this sign chart, all 3 t values we found are places where the particle crosses the x-axis. So I just plugged those t values we solved for into the equation for x in terms of t, and got the x values of the x-intercepts to be 0 and 12. So that the places where the particle crosses the x-axis are 0, 0, and 12, 0. And then part B asks for what values of t is the particle moving to the right. And so to answer this question, basically another way of wording this is for what values of t does the particle have a positive dx dt. And so first I found dx dt in terms of t, which is the derivative in terms of t of t squared, which is 2t. And then I made a sign chart for dx dt about the critical point t equals 0, and found that t is less than 0, dx dt is negative, and t is greater than 0, dx dt is positive. And so we're looking for when dx dt is positive, because that's when the particle is moving to the right, and that is when t is greater than 0.